Boker Tov today. Boker Tov Shavua Tov. Today's daf is daf Mem Ches in Nizir. The Gemara is discussing the famous issue of a Nizir versus a Kohen Gadol and even a Kohen Hedyot who have to be mitame, and not even a Kohen Hedyot, especially Kohen Hedyot, but even a Kohen Gadol or a Nizir is not mitame to Kohen Gadol and Nizir not mitame to their next of kin. However, they are mitame to a mace mitzvah. If they find a dead body and there's nobody else to bury him, they have mitzvah to bury him. And what's it based on? So in end of yesterday's Gemara, the Gemara said, how do we know that a Kohen Gadol is mitame to a mace mitzvah? Well, the pasuk said by Kohen Gadol, al kol nafshos meis lo yavo, right? He shouldn't be mitame to anybody. Al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. But now we're speaking about a Kohen Gadol. What are we speaking about? If we're speaking about general people, not his own family, it's like Kal v'chomer for Kohen Hedyot. It cannot be mitame to general people, only to his own next of kin. So certainly a Kohen Gadol cannot be mitame to them. So therefore, Kohen Gadol, when it says Al Kol Nafshos Meis Lo Yavo, what is it teaching me? It's teaching me even his relatives, the relatives that a Kohen Hedyot could be mitame for, Kohen Gadol cannot be mitame for. So why does it say? Why does the pasuk say in Vayikra Chapav, then it goes on to enumerate la'aviv v'imo, la'achav v'lachoso? Why does it give you all those details, all those people? So he tells you that la'aviv teaches me he shouldn't be mitame to his father, but we know he can't be mitame to his father because it says, I'll call nafshos meis lo yava. Who are we speaking about? We're talking about the relatives because you can't be thinking about the people who are not his relatives. Or even when he was a Kohen Hedyot, he couldn't be mitame to them. So therefore, the love of his teaching me is coming to me medayik. It's coming to only to deduce. We know he can't be mitame to his father. What does love of teach me? He can't be mitame to his father, but he could be mitame to a mace mitzvah. What does imo teach me according to this Tanakama? Imo is for example Shabbat. If you look in the pasuk by Nizir, it says by Nizir again back in by Midbar Perak Vav. It says la'aviv v'imo pasuk la'avimo la'achav la'choso lo yitame lehem b'mosam when they die. We had this Russian before. Only if they're dead you can mitame them. But if they're tummy for some reason while they're alive, they're a nega. They have a nega. They're mitzora, something of that sort, or a zav. You could be mitame to them. Okay, that's what it says by Nizir. How do we know by Kohen Gadol? The answer is by Kohen Gadol it says le'imo. We have Xavier Shavu le'imo by Nizir, le'imo by Kohen Gadol. You know, there's nothing to do with the halacha of being mitame mace for them. Simply, we already know you can't be mitame to your mother because it says al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. So that tells me all your relatives, because your non-relatives we already know you can't be mitame like a Kohen Hedyot can. So la'aviv teaches me you can't be mitame your father, but you could be mitame mace mitzvah. Le'imos for the Xavier Shavu. That's the Xavier Shavu of Rebbe that the Gemara in today's daf at the top of Memches talked about. That we saw this yesterday. That Rebbe says by Nizir b'mosam, as we just quoted. Mitame l'negam levasam. That's by Nizir. Kohen Gadol, how do we know? So it says by imo we don't need. Why does it say imo by Kohen Gadol? We already know it's a kal v'chomer. If makom shekohen hedyot, the Gemara says from Xavier Shavu, but we already know it also from kol nafshos meis lo yavo. If by a Kohen Hedyot, which is what the Gemara says, Umam Bakam Shekohen Hedyot, Mitame La'achim Mitame to his brother from his father's side, but he's not Mitame to his a Kohen Gadol can't be Mitame to his father. Place where a Kohen Hedyot is not Mitame to his brother. Let's say if he's a brother from his mother's side, only from his mother, he's a half brother from his mother's side. Certainly a Kohen Hedyot cannot be Mitame. So certainly Kohen Hedyot Mitame Lachmi. Most certainly a Kohen Gadol can't be Mitame to his mother. So he learns of a sort of a Kal v'chomer. You could also learn from Kal nafshos meis. In any case, if you learn there, what does the imo teach me? So it's teaching me of a Xavier Shavu to imo by Nizir, imo by Kohen Gadol. Just like by Nizir, it's only been mosam and not been gone. The same thing by Kohen Gadol. Now the Gemara says this is where we're up to. We're up to Ashkechem, halfway down on the page. Halfway down this Ashkan Gadol. So this is all so far teaching us how do we know that a Kohen Gadol is mitame to mace mitzvah. The Mishnah at the beginning of the parak talked about that issue, that if a Kohen Gadol and a Nizir are walking around, that we said they can't be, neither of them can be mitame to any relatives, but it could be mitame to mace mitzvah, who has a priority. That was yesterday's Gemara. So, but how do we know the general idea? The Gemara at the end of yesterday's episode. How do we know the Kohen Gadol could be metame to a meis mitzvah? Because it says, "Al kol nafshes meis lo yavo." That's speaking about his relative. So, what does la'aviv teach me? Not to his father, but yes to a meis mitzvah. What does la'imo teaches me? That's for example Shabbat teaching me that even by just like by Nazir, the prohibition is only on tumas meis, not on nega or ziva. Same thing by Kohen Gadol. Okay. So the Gemara now says, Kohen Gadol, that's how you know Kohen Gadol could be metame to a meis mitzvah. Again, based on V'imo. What about a Nazir? How do we know that a Nazir could be metame to a meis mitzvah? Probably can't be metame to anybody else. The Tanya, Kol Yemei Ziro Lashem. That's the pasuk. All the days that he's a Nazir to God. I'll call nefesh. The pasuk really says I'll call nefesh meis lo yavo. But he's not using the word mace right now. Pasuk Vav said, "Kol yimei azir Hashem al nefesh mace lo yavo." Right, that's what the pasuk says. But leave out the word mace for a moment. Shemani and nefesh. The word nefesh is even nefesh behema, a mashma. And this nefesh, a soul, could even be that of an animal. Shnever nefesh behema. Does that mean he can't be metame even to his dead cow in the barn? By a animal, it also says make nefesh behema. And a behema also has a sort of a nefesh. So it just says, if we only say al nefesh lo yavo, you might think you can't even tell me to an animal. Tamalomar al nefesh mace. Read the whole word. It says al nefesh mace lo yavo. And nefesh mace always refers to a person, as Rashi says. Rashi says that nefesh mace go there. Shalom atzinu shenik nefesh mace alot. We never find throughout Tanakh the nefesh mace refers to anything other than a human being. So it's all nefesh mace lo yavo. Okay, but nefesh mekasim b'daber. So we already know that it says kol yemei azir Hashem al nefesh. So we know that just like by Kohen Gadol we had before, it says al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. Here it also says by Nazir it says kol yemei Hashem al nefesh was on nobody, on no dead body may he attend to any dead body. He can't come in contact with any dead body. That's what it says by Nazir. Right? Lo yavo nefesh akasim b'daber. Rabbi Shmuel says you don't even need the nefesh mace business. Rabbi Shmuel says ein asar chayu omer lo yavo shouldn't come in. We're talking about somebody. We're talking about nefashos. It's not uniform because it says nefesh mace. It says al nefesh mace lo yavo. What does that mean? You can't come into a room with a nefesh mace. Well, if you come into a room with a dead cow, that's not matamayu. If you come into a room with a dead person, that's matamayu. So we're talking about we're talking about a defilement that you get defiled just by being in the room, coming into the room with him. That's speaking about a person. So either because of nefesh mace or because of lo yavo, both the Tanakama and Rav Shmuel agree here that the words alone, kol yemei azir Hashem al nefesh mace lo yavo, teaches me that he can't be mitame to any human being. So why does it say lo yavo lo imo? Pasuk goes on. Here pasuk it says, why does it have to enumerate them? You already said nobody, no human beings. Why does it teach me that? So again, it teaches me you can't be mitame to your mother and father and mother, but you can be mitame mitzvah. So the Gemara says, what do you need that to Russia? I need a pasuk to teach you that you could be mitame mitzvah. I have a kal v'chomer of sorts, right? Or at least a comparison. Look at the kal v'chomer. Let's see in this way. What do I need it for? Ad shelo yomer. Before it tells me this pasuk, and it was without the pasuk, but then I can learn it from kal v'chomer. A Kohen Gadol has a kedusha forever, as I mentioned to you before, Avram. Right? You're asking why should the Kohen Gadol be tamei? Why should the Nazir become tamei? And he'll have to bring a carbon. He'll have to spend the money in a carbon. Why not the Kohen Gadol who doesn't have to bring a carbon? A Kohen Gadol kedushas olam. A Kohen Gadol has a kedusha forever. Once he's a Kohen forever. Mitame l'meis mitzvah. He could be mitame mitzvah, as we learned before on yesterday's daf. La'aviv teaches me not to his father, but yes to a mitzvah. Nazir shein kedusha Nazir, who's not usually his kedusha is not forever. Doesn't have to be forever. He can do it for 30 days, 50 days, 100 days, whatever he chooses. And it didn't mitame mitzvah. The Gemara says no. I can tell you the other way too. Lo imam the Kohen Gadol. We're at the first of the wide lines in the Gemara. Lo imam the Kohen Gadol. I'll tell you Kohen Gadol shekain and maybe korban tumaso. A Kohen Gadol is not as holy. Because, in other words, as holiness describes a higher level of responsibility, of holiness, I guess, right? Of spirituality. Maybe a carbon also. A Kohen Gadol doesn't bring a carbon if he's tamei. Tam benazir should maybe carbon al tamasa. A nazir while it's tamei, if he becomes tamei mace, he has to bring a carbon. Oh, maybe carbon al tamasa. Since he has to bring a carbon tuma, look, I might think that he's in a higher degree of spirituality, and therefore lo yitam the mace mitzvah. He shouldn't be mitam mitzvah. In other words, don't say it's a kal v'chomer based on the Kohen Gadol is kedusha forever based, and nazir is only temporary. Yes, but a nazir has to bring a carbon, so I can look at it that way. You can't learn the kal v'chomer. Therefore, how do I know that a nazir should also go to the funeral, attend to a mace mitzvah? He shouldn't be mitami to his father and his mother. He shouldn't be mitami mitzvah. Oh, wait a minute. Because you're saying it's only based on the deduction, just like we had by Kohen Gadol. It's just la'avid not. We already know he can't be mitami to anybody. So I say la'avid, not to his father, but yes to a mace mitzvah. Okay, so maybe it's yes to somebody else. Oh, maybe not. Maybe mitami. Maybe it's right. The pasuk says clearly he's not mitami to his father and mother. It says, so that's clear. That maybe the deduction is not that he should be mitami to a mace mitzvah. Maybe a special rule that he can't be mitami to his family, right? But he could be mitami to others. Kal v'chomer, not based on any svara like, well, if he can't be mitami to his family, maybe he could be mitami to somebody else. Maybe it's worse with his family. No. We look from a Kohen Head. My Kohen Head should be mitami. He could be mitami to his 7 next of kin. And mitami l'sharmeisem, but he can't be mitami to others. Nazir she'en mitami l'karbon, he can't be mitami to his next of kin. Certainly, and eventually mitami l'sharmeisem. Because once you see that you can't be mitami to your family, you certainly can't be mitami to others. You can't say maybe your family you shouldn't be mitami to. You're too close to them, whatever. Maybe you'll come make a mistake or something else, or you'll bring time to them too early or whatever. But to others you could. No. By Kohen Head, we see that's not the case. So therefore, we'll come back to our deduction. Love of lima, you should be mitame, but you could be mitame to a mace mitzvah. Says the Gemara. So how much love of lima? What does it love mean? Teach me love of lima. Who do I mitame? I'm mitame a mace mitzvah. Now we're throwing in love of lima together. We're not learning before. By Kohen Gadol, we said la'aviv teaches me mace mitzvah. Lima is for the Gzeira Shava. Here we're sort of throwing them together in this drasha of Rabbi Shmuel, or the Tanakama is not mentioned, is anonymous, but we're sort of throwing together, but we'll see that's not the case. So Gemara says again, wait a minute, that's your deduction? Without this drasha of Lavlimo, you shouldn't be mitame, and we already know you shouldn't be mitame to anybody. So Lavlimo is a deduction. Yes, we already know you can't be mitame to your family. So when I say Lavlimo, not, but yes to a mace mitzvah. What do I need it for? Again, actually, before it says this pasuk, what do I need the deduction from these words? Yes, I can give you a different comparison. Now, this is not a kal v'chomer, but it's like a ma'atzah. It's a comparison. Never close by Kohen Gadol, but never close by Nazir. Both by Kohen Gadol and by Nazir, it uses a general rule. Don't be mitami to any of these people. What is the general rule? By Kohen Gadol, we saw it says, Al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. And what does it say by Nazir? Kol yemei azir l'Hashem al nefesh meis lo yavo. But it says in both cases, it's a general. By Kohen Gadol, it says, Al kol nafshos meis lo yavo. By Nazir, it says, Al nefesh meis lo yavo. It's a general rule, right? So it's a general thing. So let's compare them. Yeshua never close, but Kohen Gadol never close. But another says called by both. Ma close was Kohen Gadol, just like Kohen Gadol. La'ov aveda matame av matame lemeis mitzvah. That's the drasha we said by Kohen Gadol. It says the general thing, and then it said, what does la'ov teach me? Is with the end of yesterday's daf. La'ov aveda matame lemeis mitzvah. So the same thing here. But call some more ben Nazir, cause ben Nazir la'ov aveda matame lemeis mitzvah. In other words, why does it have to say la'aviv at all when it comes to Nazir that you shouldn't be mitame? What do I need it for? It says I'll call nafesh meis lo yavo. By Kohen Gadol it says I'll call nafesh meis lo yavo. By Nazir it says I'll nefesh meis lo yavo. This is well, just like by Kohen Gadol it says I'll call nafesh meis lo yavo. And what does the aviv teach me there? You could be mitame to meis mitzvah. Just like right after just like what ma calls us by Kohen Gadol. But he couldn't mitame. So even though it says I'll call nafesh meis lo yavo, forget about the word la'aviv l'imo. What do I need la'aviv l'imo by Nazir for? It says by Kohen Gadol al kol nafshas meis lo yavo, and yet he could be mitame to a meis mitzvah. It's not included in al kol nafshas meis. So here to by nazir. Af kol almost ben nazir. Love mitame al mitame la meis mitzvah. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's not so simple. There's another klal, not just Kohen Gadol and not just Nazir, Kohen Hedyot. Never calls but Kohen Hedyot. What does it say by Kohen Hedyot? Lenefesh lo yitame ba'amav, right? Beginning of Emor, right? Lenefesh lo yitame ba'amav. Lenefesh, that's a general rule. Lenefesh, right? Okay, so look at this one. Look what does it say by Kohen Hedyot? Or choose this way. Never calls but Kohen Hedyot. The never calls but Nazir. Oh, my calls almost by Hedyot. Mitame la'aviv. Kohen Hedyot could be mitame to his next of kin. Father's the first in line, right? Av calls almost by Nazir. Mitame la'aviv. By Nazir also, he could be mitame his father. So if you just want to learn it based on a matzah comparison and say, well, if it says klolos by Kohen Gadol, yet you could be mitame to meis mitzvah. So close by Nazir also could be mitame meis mitzvah. So what do I need a pasuk of la'aviv? No, maybe I'll learn it from Kohen Hedyot. Like Kohen Hedyot says close, and yet you could be talking to the father. So therefore, maybe over here also, maybe close almost tam lava tam lomer. Therefore, I need love of lima li tama alameis mitame. So therefore, I do need love of lima by Nazir because I just can't compare it to a Kohen Gadol because maybe the comparison is to Kohen Hedyot. So therefore, love of lima, I do need it to teach me that you can mitame mitzvah. So the Gemara says, wait a minute. So how many boy lo mishem mitame lava? You just said you just fell apart. Why? Because on the Aleph we said kol nafshas meis, nobody, either lo yavo or says no yavo can and anybody. So what does La'avav teach me? La'avav teaches me that yes to a meis mitzvah. But now we're saying, wait a minute, no. Even though you have a kol nafshas meis and you have lo yavo, all that, but you could compare it to a Kohen Hedyot. And you could say there, it also says, nefesh lo yitam avav, and yet you tell me to his father. So therefore, what do I need love? What's love for? To teach me that you can't be mitame to your father. You might think, what, by Kohen Gadol, by regular Kohen, what does it say? Le nefesh lo yitam avav. By Kohen Gadol, it says, I'll call nefesh meis lo yavo. By Nazir, it says, I'll nefesh meis lo yavo. All of them have a cloud. Yet by Kohen Hedyot, he is mitame to his father. So maybe here also. How do you know that la'aviv, like you said it on Alf, la'aviv by Nazir teaches me not to his father, but yes to a meis mitzvah? No, I need it for his father itself, because maybe he's like Kohen Hedyot. So therefore, the Gemara says, "I've called was from Nazir mitam love tam lam la'aviv li'malei tam ha'la meis mitzvah." What do you mean? Hami boy lo mashem mitam la'aviv. You need la'aviv to teach me that you can't be mitam to your father, even though it says al nefesh meis lo yavo, right? Pasuk says. The pasuk says, "Al nefesh meis lo yavo." When it comes to a Nazir, but maybe the father's not included. Maybe the father is not included in that prohibition. He should become his father, just like a Kohen Hedyot. Ella la'aviv, right? As we've just explained, we've just destroyed what we said Haman Aleph and at the top here, based on this Kohen Hedyot. Ella la'aviv lo mashem tam la'aviv. So again, Rabbi Shmuel is explaining all this to his father. La'aviv is teaching you even though it says al nefesh. Says nefesh also by Kohen Hedyot. Yeah, he's talking to his father. So I need here la'aviv that he's not talking to his father literally. Okay. Le'echav. What does it say le'echav? Why it says la'achiv, not le'echav, right? It says la'achiv to his brother and Hamas meis mitzvah. So Bishmol is now saying, how do you know that a Nazir is mitame to his meis mitzvah? What does that say his brother for? If you can't be mitame to the father, certainly you can't be mitame to the father's son, your brother. That's from meis mitzvah mitame. What about l'imo? It's sort of in reverse order, right? Because it says la'aviv u'l'imo. What's l'imo for? Imo is for the Gzeir Shah. We said him off like a Rebbe. L'imo is not for this drush of Nazir at all. L'imo is the drush to teach me from Nazir to Kohen Gadol. Just like by Nazir, it's only b'mosam, because by Kohen Gadol it doesn't say b'mosam. By Nazir it says la'aviv u'l'imo lach v'lechosa lo yitam alem b'mosam. Only when they're dead, you can't be talking. It could be talking to a nega or to a zava. Or to ziva, to neg or to ziva by Nazir, and the same thing by Kohen Gadol. So therefore, the emo that it says by Nazir, as well as the emo that it says by Kohen Gadol, you need for the Gzeir Shah to teach me that just like by Nazir, he could be mitame to neg and ziva, the same thing by Kohen Gadol. So that's the emo for. Okay, the Gzeir Shah, Rebbe. Well, achoso. So what do we have achoso for? So now let's look at Nazir again. By Nazir, it says la'aviv. That's to teach me you could be mitam, that you can't be mitam to your father. You might think that you could, just like by a kohen hedyo. I need it for that. L'imo gzeir shava. La'achiv meis mitzvah. What does Achoso teach me? What does Achoso say? You can't be mitami to your sister. You can't be mitami to your father. You can't be mitami to your mother. You can't be mitami to your brother. It says brother, just teach me meis mitzvah. What does Achoso teach me? Look at the Tanya. The Tanya, la'achoso ma'atam u'lomer. What does that teach me? Harei shehalach lishchot es pischo u'lamas beno. Let's say this Nazir. We're talking about a Nazir over here, this pasuk. Let's say the Nazir was on his way to do his carbon pesach or to mal his son. These are the two mitzvahs asay that involve chorus. 36 mitzvahs los asay, chorus, beginning of creases. There's two mitzvahs asay that if you never mal yourself, you get chorus for that. If you don't bring your carbon pesach on purpose and you're torn, you don't have an excuse, you also chayav chorus. So you heard this, and he heard that somebody died in his family. I think you should tell me them. You shouldn't be time. Don't be time to your family. You have to go take care of your business. You're a Nazir. You have to bring carbon pesach. You have to stay tar because you're a Nazir. You have to stay tar to bring your carbon pesach. And you're on the way to do a mitzvah of mauling your son. Mauling your son over here means you're mauling your son in order to bring your carbon pesach, because you can't bring your carbon pesach if anybody in your household, including your slaves, are tamei. Maybe here also you shouldn't be time. What happens is a mace mitzvah. Not only you're a Nazir, but you must stay pure in order to bring your carbon pesach, and you have to mal your son in order that everybody in your household should be Torah for Pesach. Talmud lomar lachoso anything can't be time your sister. You're in time to mitzvah even when you're not going to be able to bring your carbon pesach and you're being over a Nazir. That's what it's for. So again, by Nazir, Aviv teaches me that you cannot be mitami to your father. Le'imos d'gzeir shava. La'achiv is for you can't be mitami to your brother, but you can be mitami for his mitzvah. And lachoso is even when it's going to prevent you from bringing your carbon pesach, mauling your son, etc. That's what Rishmal. Rav Kiva says. His drush is like this. Again, it's not nefashos, it's nefesh. Again, it says Kol Mirzel Hashem, Kol Mirzel Hashem al nefesh meis lo yavo. Nefesh elu rechokim. Rav Kiva says, listen, nefesh means non-relatives, right? That's what it learns. Nefesh elu rechokim. Meis elu krovim. It says al nefesh meis lo yavo by Nazir. So nefesh means people, anybody who's not your relative. Meis is your relatives. So I already have a pasuk for your relatives, including the father, the mother, all your next of kin. I have a pasuk for that. Again, Rabbi Shmuel needed la'aviv now to teach me literally you can't be mitami to your father, because could be that from hedyo, a kohen hedyo is a klal there, and yet you could be mitami to your father. So maybe here too, if you're basing it on the psukim that way, basing on these comparisons. But Rabbi Kiva says no. It says mace. Mace means your relatives. Why? Because nefesh means your non-relatives. So la'avalima and a matame. So la'avalima, what does that teach me? What is this la'avalima and a matame? A matame le'meis mitzvah. So Rabbi Kiva, as we'll see, Rabbi Kiva does not learn le'imo for any special drasha. He doesn't learn it for the gzeir shava, like Rashi points out here twice. That again, Rabbi Shmuel went with the drasha le'imo like Rebbe. Imo for the gzeir shava from Nazir to Kohen Gadol regarding being metame to for ziva or for nega, and he right, but Rabbi Kiva doesn't learn that. He just lovely. We teach that metame the meis mitzvah. Why? He doesn't need la'aviv that you can't be metame to your father, because he says your father's included in the word meis. Nefesh means non-relatives. Meis means all your relatives, including all your next of kin, your father, your mother, etc. Why say lovely Mo? To teach me love, mitzvah. That's the question. What does la'achiv teach me? Shemaya Kohen Gadol v'hu Nazir. What happens if he's not? It's not a question of just simply a Nazir going to do his carbon pesach or mace mitzvah. He's a Kohen Gadol and he's a Nazir. Double problem. Kohen Gadol can't be mitami to his next of kin, and a Nazir cannot be mitami to his next of kin. That's him. Shemaya Kohen Gadol v'hu Nazir. That's still in that case. That again, the word achiv is extra. You already know you can't be mitami to any of your relatives. What does Lavalima teaches me? You could be mitame to meis mitzvah. And what does la'achav teach me? You can mitame to the meis mitzvah, even if not, you're not just a nazir. You're a nazir and a kohen gadol, both. What does la'chosa teach me? That's to teach me that if this nazir was on his way to do the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, and now if he becomes tamei, it's going to prevent him from doing the Korban Pesach. He can still do mitame l'meis mitzvah. That's what the drushes are for. Rabbi Kiva Xavier Shavah the Rabbi Manali. How does Rabbi Kiva know the Xavier Shavah Rabbi? He doesn't learn la'avi. He learns that la'avi imo is like your parents. You know, the imo is just mentioned agav the father. So the imo is not for Xavier Shavah. So how does he know? How would Rabbi Kiva know that a kohen gadol could be mitame to his family's nega or ziva or anything for that matter? Anybody who has a nega, how do you mitame to that? Kohen gadol, let's say he had to observe a mitzvah or whatever. How do you know that? He doesn't have Xavier Shavah. So Rabbi Kiva Xavier Shavah the Rebbe Menale Amalacha. Kivin, listen, look at it this way. Kivin the Amar Mar. Since you just learned before, what did Rabbi Kiva just say? That what does Achiv teach me? La'achiv and Matame, which case where he was both a kohen gadol and a nazir, right? What does La'achiv teach me? If he's a kohen gadol and a nazir, even in a case like that, you can't be mitame to your brother, but you can be mitame to a meis mitzvah. So a kohen gadol and a nazir is also a kohen gadol. My kivin damar mar imay kohen gadol nazir achvei mitame meis mitzvah mali kohen gadol chudi mali nazir kohen gadol. In other words, it's the same drasha. If you say if he's a nazir and a kohen gadol, and we say he can't be mitame to anybody else, but he can be mitame meis mitzvah, and the rules of nazir and kohen gadol, and the rules a kohen gadol who's a nazir is also a nazir, and the nazir could be mitame for a nega. So if he's a kohen gadol alone, the same thing would apply. Take a look at Rashi. Rashi, 5 lines before the lines get wide in Rashi. The kohen gadol mitame b'nego b'zibaso shalom. How do we know that if his father had a nega, he could deal the day lo mashmalei mili imo klal? How come that Gemara knows? But he says you just as imo agav the father. He mentions the father, mentions the mother. Since we say it says there by a kohen gadol v'nazir lo yitamalem b'mosam, right? We're saying that a kohen gadol who's also a nazir, the same rules apply. You can still be mitame meis mitzvah. And what does it say by nazir? Lo yitamalem b'mosam. Uksiv bei b'kohen gadol. If he's a kohen gadol and a nazir, what is the rule? We're saying that a kohen gadol and a nazir just has the same rules as a nazir. A nazir can be mitame meis mitzvah if he's a kohen gadol and he's a nazir meis mitzvah. So what does it say by a kohen gadol who's a nazir? Lo yitamalem b'mosam. It doesn't say b'mosam because it only says b'mosam by nazir, not by kohen gadol alone. But we're saying now that a kohen gadol and nazir is also like a nazir. So therefore it says b'mosam. So mali kohen gadol l'chudi, mali kohen gadol. If he's a kohen gadol who's a nazir, the rules that he could be mitame to a nega apply. So if he's a kohen gadol alone, also would apply. Again, going on to Rashi, mali kohen gadol l'chudi, mali kohen gadol shenazir. The mitame nega was also shalav. Koshkin kohen gadol l'chudi, mu'tlatam mignam v'sasam. If a kohen gadol is a nazir, could be mitame to his father if he was his father's nega or saras or whatever, his ziva. So if he's a kohen gadol alone, he certainly should be able to. So he doesn't need the Xer Shav of that. Mali nazir, mali kohen gadol, mali nazir kohen gadol. Over Shmuel, going back to the first opinion, Shmuel kohen gadol v'hu nazir minale. How does kohen gadol? Remember, Rabbi Shmuel said, "La'aviv teaches me you really can't be mitame to your father." Because I would say, based on the drushes, I could say there's a klal by Kohen Hedyo and Kohen Hedyo still could be mitame to his father, so maybe that would apply to the nazir too. So I need la'aviv to teach me that nazir can't be mitame to his father. Le'imo is for the Xer Shava. La'achiv is to teach me meis mitzvah. He doesn't have any. And what does lachosa teach me? If he was on his way to bring the Korban Pesach, how does Rabbi Shmuel know a kohen gadol who's a nazir also? Kohen gadol b'hu nazir minal. How does he know that rule that he could still be mitame to a meis mitzvah? Gemara says, "Keeping the shorach mana chadlav meis mitzvah mali chadlav mali chetrim." If the Torah allows a nazir where there's a lav, he shouldn't be tamei. Still, if there's a meis mitzvah, he can attend to the meis mitzvah. What's the difference between one lav or two lav? Once the Torah says, "Don't worry about the lav. If you're a nazir, you're not supposed to be tamei to anybody. But if you're a meis mitzvah, it's okay. If you chance upon a meis mitzvah, it's okay." And you're over on the lav of nazir. So what's the difference if it's one lav or two lavs? Once the Torah allows you to meis mitzvah takes priority over tumah, whether it's one lav or two lav, it doesn't make any difference. Mali chad lav, mali chad lav, mali trey lav. In other words, I don't need a special pasuk like like Rabbi Kiva said. The pasuk of la'achiv teaches me that. Rabbi Shmuel doesn't need a special pasuk coin and a nazir, because once the Torah allows a nazir to be time himself from Meis Mitzvah, what's something he's over on Naziris, that's a lav, or a kohen gadol is another lav. So if that's the case, if there's two lavs, it doesn't make it one or two. The Gemara then says achoso lamali. So what do we need achoso? Rabbi Shmuel said achoso teaches me what? That if he was on his way to do to Shechta's Korban Pesach, in other words, he has a mitzvah Korban Pesach, and he has a mitzvah of maling his son. In order, he has a mitzvah. That's a mitzvah that he has to mal his son in order to do the Korban Pesach, right? And he's a nazir, so he has all these reasons not to become tamei. Yet, if he comes upon a Meis Mitzvah, he is tamei himself. He's matami himself, and he forgoes the Korban Pesach. Right, he forgoes Korban Pesach and he's over on Naziris. So still he does it, but who cares? So what do you need that for? So he's over on Naziris and he's over on the Korban Pesach. But we already know. You just said, how does Rabbi Shmuel know kohen gadol and nazir? He says, well, once you're over on nazir, the Torah allows a nazir to be over on the lav and tamei himself. What's the difference if he's a nazir and a kohen gadol? One lav, two lav. What's the difference? If you say one lav, two lav, what's the difference? So what do I need lachoso to teach me, even if he's going to mess up his Korban Pesach? So achoso lamali. When does the Torah allow you to be over the prohibition of tumah for a nazir or a kohen gadol? When is a nazir for kohen gadol? It's allowed simply in Israel. It says al nefesh mei lo kol nefesh meis lo yavo lo v'imi lo yitama. The nefesh meis lo yitama, all those things, lo v'im lo yitama, those are lavin. Aval milo pesach the chorus, milo kor pesach are isurim involved in chorus. Therefore, maybe lo yitama meis mitzvah, maybe you shouldn't be in meis mitzvah. Kamash malan, that even in that case you're in meis mitzvah. Even though Rabbi Shmuel says once you're over on one lav, you can be over on two lav and two. You don't need a special pasuk for that. But a lav that involves chorus or a mitzvah say that involves chorus, like Milo and Korban Pesach, I may think you can't be mitamid. It's not be a lav. Milo and Pesach are not lav, and they're says. I said that's what Rashi says. Lachos lami klomer, 3 lines from bottom in Rashi. Klomer imkein Rabbi Shmuel nafkan b'kohen gadol shemali chad mali trei lavin achos lami lemesher Pesach umila. What do I need to be? What do I need a special pasuk of achos to teach me? You can't be mitamid to your sister, but you could be over on Pesach and Mila. What's in one lav or two lavs? The answer is Korban Pesach and Mila are different because they involve Mila. Mila is a chorus. So I might think if it's chorus, you shouldn't be over. Don't be mitamid on Meis Mitzvah. You shouldn't be over on, because you're not going to be able to bring your Korban Pesach. You have a choice here. You could say there's a Meis Mitzvah there. You got a Korban Pesach. If you don't bring Korban Pesach, you're over on a chorus. Right? It's chayav chorus. And if you mitamid the Meis Mitzvah, you won't be able to do Korban Pesach. Kamash one. Still, you're over. Still, you will leave aside the Korban Pesach, bring it at Pesach Sheni, and then you'll mal your kids later on, and you're matami to the Meis Mitzvah. That's the drush over here.
Well, when you have a mistake, there's always like an out, right? And certainly these two, there's an out. For Pesach, there's Pesach Sheni.
Right. But still, you might say, but still, because of the chumrah of the chores, you might think that takes precedence, because this involves an Isser chores. It's a higher degree of chumrah, and therefore leave the Meis Mitzvah, walk away, let somebody else do it. Kamash malay, you're over. So everybody agrees that a nazir, kohen gadol, whatever his situation was, Meis Mitzvah, he's metame. The question is, how do you apportion the psukim? Rabbi Shmuel says you need la'aviv. You need la'aviv because you might think from kohen head that you can move something to a father, even though it says the general flow. So you need la'aviv for that. The imo is the gzeira shava. La'achiv is to teach me Meis Mitzvah, the general thing. You shouldn't be talking about Meis Mitzvah. And lachoso is to teach me even if you're on your way to do Korban Pesach. Rabbi Kiva says no. Nefesh Meis, that's enough. Nefesh is non-relatives, Meis is your relatives. We know all of that. Therefore, la'avav la'imo, both those teach me Meis Mitzvah. La'achiv is kohen gadol and nazir. Rabbi Shmuel says I don't need something for kohen gadol and nazir. For nazir, if you be over on one lot, for nazir, you be over on two for kohen gadol. But Rabbi Kiva says that la'achiv teach me kohen gadol and nazir. And lachoso, they both agree is if you're on your way to Korban Pesach because of the Yisur of cars. All right, tomorrow's Gemara will continue on with this idea according to Rabbi Kiva. If Loshna Kohen Gadol L'chudei, Loshna Kohen Gadol V'hu Nazir. So love of me, what do I really need it for? The Gemara is going to say, what do you, according to Rabbi Kiva, you don't even need love of Limo because you can learn it out from Kohen Gadol. All right, we'll pick it up from here tomorrow, Mr. Shah.